Forget New Year, New You. This season is about slowing down, locking the doors, and cozying up at home with the one you really want to do nothing with. Your dog. After the holiday chaos, those quiet nights with a blanket, a podcast, and your pup feel like the reset you actually need. Ollie helps make those moments easier with fresh protein-packed meals made from real human-grade ingredients, so your dog can enjoy some quality comfort food too. Choose from 5 recipes and get a personalized plan for your dog's needs. Meals arrive perfectly proportioned with a scoop and storage container, so serving is fast and mess-free. And with Ollie's in-app on-demand health screenings, supporting your dog is easy, ensuring more cuddles for many years to come. Visit ollie.com/truecrime and use code TRUECRIME for 60% off your first box.
Jade Janks, a 39-year-old interior decorator from California, was accused of murdering her stepfather, Tom Merriman, in 2020. The motive, according to the prosecution, was that Jade discovered her stepfather's obsession with her. She had found a giant collection of naked photographs of herself on his computer. These were intimate pictures she had taken since she was underage through her adulthood that had never been meant for her stepfather's eyes. Somehow, he had stolen them, cropping them and cataloging them in a most demeaning way. She was horrified, shocked, and angry when she realized her stepfather's betrayal. In last week's episode, you heard about the damning text messages Jade sent. According to prosecutors, she was trying to recruit help to kill her stepfather. And one witness, her friend Adam Sipliak, testified that she had admitted to killing him. According to the deputy medical examiner, however, Tom's cause of death was from a drug overdose, although he had also ruled the manner of death as homicide. The prosecution's theory was that Jade drugged her stepfather and then suffocated him when he was too incapacitated to fight back. But Jade insisted she was innocent, and she was willing to take the stand to testify and tell what happened during her 2022 murder trial. I'm going to cover that today, Jade's testimony, as well as the conclusion of this trial. Would the jury decide that Jade killed her stepfather, or that he died of an overdose by his own doing? This is Jillian, and in partnership with Law and Crime, you are listening to Court Junkie, Episode 235, Part 2. One of the first things jurors learned about Jade Janks was her turbulent childhood. Her mother and father divorced when Jade, an only child, was 3 months old. Her dad, Steve Janks, was the one who raised her, while Jade testified that her mother, Jeanette, was in and out of the picture. Jade told the jury that her mother had mental health issues and problems with drugs and alcohol. One day, when Jade was 14, her mother called her with some surprising news. Jeanette had remarried to Tom Merriman, a well-known butterfly conservation activist in the community, and the couple was expecting a child together. After baby Cash Merriman was born, Jade went over to her mom's and Tom's house more often to help out with the baby and visit with them. From ages 14 to 18, Jade didn't have much of a relationship with Tom. He worked a lot and seemed kind of like a weird guy, socially awkward, Jade testified. But she also had no ill will towards him or had any problems with him, she said. He never did anything to harm her or make her feel uncomfortable. Jade told the jury that when she was 18, her half-brother Cash missed his first day of kindergarten because their mom forgot to take him. After that, Jade said she began getting more involved with the Merrimans and moved in to help take care of Cash. As Cash grew up, Jade carpooled him to karate, joined the PTA, took him to soccer, and made sure he did his homework. She was a surrogate parent to Cash and loved him like her own. Living with her mom and Tom, Jade grew closer to her stepfather. He'd call me his daughter. I'd refer to him as my dad, she testified. We became close. She said she bonded with Tom over the drama with her mother, who was a manipulator and con artist. She said her mom was arrested at one point and went to jail, although she didn't tell the jury why. And so Jade, Tom, and Cash rented a new house. Then the three of us, being my stepdad, my brother, and I, all lived together for the next number of years, she testified. Tom was now someone she trusted completely. He was family in her eyes. Tom's substance abuse had been an issue raised during the trial. He was an alcoholic. His cause of death was from acute intoxication by zolpidem, more commonly known as Ambien. While testifying on the stand, Jade said he was belligerent and he drank a lot, but he wasn't like a stumbling drunk, let's say. At 23 years old, Jade finally moved out. Life had gotten too much, she said. She was young and felt like Tom was too reliant on her. She did his laundry and made appointments for him, while also raising Cash. Everything was a lot, Jade testified. I needed some space. She also didn't like that Tom had been bad-mouthing her biological father. Jade said she saw Tom mostly around the holidays after that. We had a tight little family, and then we just kind of weren't anymore, she said. There hadn't been a fight or anything dramatic. They just grew further apart now that Jade was no longer living with them and helping raise Cash. Meanwhile, as Jade dealt with her complicated family, she found success starting her own interior design business after being exposed to the construction industry through her biological father. Her business was called Jade Janks Interiors. She sounded like a commercial on the stand when she described what she did for a living. I make houses beautiful and comfortable, she said, about working in a mix between design and decor. Her relationship with Tom was evolving, though. By chance, she ended up moving into a new place that was right by Tom in April 2020. She wasn't aware of where he lived exactly then, but she knew it was the same area in California. She texted Tom or called him, "Where do you live?" And it turned out it was literally right next door, Jade testified. Living so close meant that Jade and Tom reconnected. They ate dinner together once a week. He aged a lot in that time and just seemed kind of sad and lonely, and he was really excited that I was living there, she testified. As I said, there's always been a really special bond. I don't think I've ever gotten along with anybody as well. I don't think I've ever trusted anybody as much or being able to just be as, I'd say, open and vulnerable. She testified that Tom would always tell her, "Nobody will ever love you like I do," which, she said looking back, sounds a little unnerving. As I said, Tom's a bit weird, and he would say things like that, just randomly. "No one will ever love you like I do. I'd die for you. I'm the only one that will always be there for you." Jade's attorney asked her if Tom ever acted inappropriately towards her. No, Jade said, although he might show up for dinner without giving her a heads up, and Jade would have to excuse herself to go put on a bra. He wasn't ogling her. She just felt uncomfortable. Her attorney asked her, "Are you thinking about this in retrospect, or at the time, did you have any kind of concerns?" It's always like that, so I just always kind of felt that way, she said. I don't know if he was, watching me, but there's always been, an underlaying of, I don't know, kind of just like that voice in your head, kind of just like a little red flag or some warning. So, and it wasn't like, oh, he's here, I have to go put on a bra. I would just do it, but so he didn't notice. I didn't want to hurt his feelings or make anything awkward. Jade testified that Tom's drinking and drug use started getting worse. He would store bottles of Jack Daniels at her house so he could have a drink. He started showing up drunk. He slurred his words. Jade couldn't understand him. He would tell me he was going to get a new bottle, and I know the size of the bottles that he'd buy, and it seemed like it was happening more and more. But I told him not to get so drunk at my house, so I don't know what he does at home, she said. She was annoyed, but she didn't feel unsafe. She worried about his health. She barely recognized him at that point. He seemed to have aged immensely and had a puffy face. He looked ill. You wouldn't really recognize him as the same guy that I knew. I mean, everyone gets old or a little fatter, but it was significant, she testified. Now that Jade and Tom were next-door neighbors and close again, that meant Tom had access to more drugs. Jade testified she had prescription pills for panic attacks, pain management, and stress. Tom complained to her that he couldn't sleep. She said she gave him some of her pills. I would give it to him or he'd just take it, she testified. A lot of times, he'd say, "What's the name? How many milligrams?" He'll get the bottle and look, and then he'll just kind of help himself to it. Jade said it seemed innocent enough to her to share her pills. She didn't see anything wrong with it. Taking one pill wouldn't do much, she said. But she believed Tom had gone in and helped himself without asking. He would text her late at night when he couldn't sleep, as the two traded messages about symptoms and pills. She testified how she looked after Tom and how Tom's life was becoming out of control. He also had surgery on his nose for reasons that were unclear. In her testimony, Jade said the surgery was for cosmetic reasons and was related to his alcoholism, but she wasn't allowed to finish explaining on the stand. She picked him up after the procedure, brought him back so he was comfortable, made stew, and picked up his prescription ointment. She said she had power of attorney over him. I've always been a caretaker for Mr. Merriman, she testified. Anytime something would go wrong when we lived together before, and then after I moved there, if he hurt himself, I'd go get bandages. If he was sick, I'd go get soup. Needed a ride to the doctor? I took him. So there wasn't I didn't suddenly start, I just always was. Sometimes she picked him up when he was a drunken mess. She said he called her from the liquor store one day and had fallen pretty bad then as well. I actually put the seats down in my car and he laid down and just kind of passed out in my car. She testified that sometimes she couldn't move Tom from her car. He was in such bad shape. So she would leave him there with the windows rolled down and the seats flat so he could sleep it off. What else can I do at that point? Jade testified. He's bigger than me. You're not concerned about leaving him in the vehicle in a situation like that? Jade's attorney asked. No, said Jade. I mean, there's a couple times I wanted to go to the store and I couldn't because I didn't want him to wake up in a parking lot. But right there, it's a very safe area, and he wouldn't wake up lost. He knows where he is. She said in mid-December 2020, Tom had another bad falling episode and hurt his head and cracked his ribs. While he was in the hospital, his landlord alerted Jade that his sofa was ruined and covered in some type of fluids. That's when Jade went into Tom's place to replace the sofa and clean up. She was in his office area, tidying up, when she accidentally bumped the mouse and saw the sexual pictures of herself that Tom had secretly been hoarding. She testified that she was devastated. She called her friend Mike and told him, but she never thought to call the police. I didn't really know what that would do, she said. And Tom's got a weird thing he always had a weird thing with law enforcement and authority. He'd take on a defiant role, so to speak. Her attorney questioned, "Let me ask you this, Ms. Janks. Why would you care? I mean, he's violated your privacy. Why would you care what Tom thinks?" Jade responded, "I didn't think they'd actually do anything, and now I'm living next door to him. He knows that I know about these photos." Her attorney asked her, "Are you afraid of him for some reason?" "Yes," Jade said. "Why?" he asked. Jade then let slip an answer before the prosecution objected. For years I had known about 30-something years ago, there was some, violent rape allegations against... Deputy District Attorney Jorge Del Portillo interrupted her. "Objection, Your Honor," he said. The judge allowed Jade to continue if she limited her answers. And so, without going into much detail, Jade testified that she knew Tom had been involved in a criminal case from 30 years ago because Tom had discussed it with her. She also testified that there was evidence that Tom had been breaking into her house and going through her trash for years. Medicine or music CDs that she had thrown out would mysteriously end up at Tom's. She also now believed he stole her digital camera and memory card, which is how he found all of her sexual photographs. So instead of calling the police, Jade reached out to her good friend Mike, who advised her to delete the photos on Tom's computer and change the screensaver to red to send a message to Tom that his behavior wasn't okay. I started to do that, and then I suddenly kind of freaked out that Tom was going to come home and see that I erased the photos and know that I knew, Jade testified. Since she was Tom's power of attorney, she tried to call the hospital to see if she could prevent him from being discharged early or stop him from discharging himself early. But she didn't get any definite answers and was worried he could come home at any time. Tom was overweight, unsteady on his feet, going through withdrawals, and was healing broken ribs. You know he's not in the best of shape, right? Jade's attorney asked. Correct, Jade said. So you still had this fear of him? Looking back, her fear was illogical, she admitted. In the moment, though, she said it was real. She said she also didn't want her story to go public and attract attention. Tom had been on the news before for his butterfly farm. She said she just wanted everything to be quiet. It was humiliating, she said. She testified that she couldn't stop thinking about the photos she found. She felt dirty and gross, and she was scared to shower. When I first saw the photos, I couldn't even use the bathroom, she said. I was scared to, touch myself with toilet paper. I just felt so disgusting, and so I couldn't shower either. I was scared of being nude and vulnerable, and I just wanted somebody to just look out for me and make sure that I was safe. She testified that she asked Alan Roach to be her bodyguard while she showered to make sure no one could harm her. She acknowledged it was ridiculous, but it was the only way she felt safe. She said she needed to come up with a plan of action because it was only a matter of time before Tom was discharged. Her attorney asked her about the text messages to Alan. I want to know what you had in your mind when you say, I needed to do something. Did you need to kill him? No, Jade said. I wanted Tom to just go away and leave me alone. I wanted Alan to basically explain to him that this is not okay, or I could explain it, but Alan just to be there just in case. And then I wanted Alan to make sure that he went through and permanently deleted all of the photos, and then give notice to his landlord. Just move away. Jade testified that the day had finally come. At 11:16 a.m. on December 31st, New Year's Eve, she picked up Tom from his treatment to come home. He was well enough to be discharged, although he didn't look great. He shuffled in a walker. He looked tired and cranky. He was happy to leave the nursing facility, Jade testified. He made it very clear many times. She said since 6:45 a.m. that day, Tom had started calling her, asking for codeine. Jade's attorney continued to go through each text message she had sent to Alan. You then text at 11:30. You said, I just dosed the hell out of him, stopping for whiskey, then shopping at Dixieline to stall. Jade explained. When Tom got in the car, he was just complaining, He hasn't fucking slept. He hates that place. What a shithole. And then, once we got him inside, he grabbed the little travel pill container thing. She said she kept a little travel pill container in the center console of her 4Runner. The pills were for her ADD. She told the jury Tom popped them in his mouth before she could stop him. He kept saying, did you have any painkillers? Is this it? Oh, here. And he kind of just took it, she testified. She explained that next, Tom wanted her to buy him whiskey. First, I just kept asking, are you sure? You just detoxed. I didn't realize how much of a problem he had. There wasn't any convincing him. So I went and got it for him, she said. She went to the store and bought a bottle of whiskey and mini-size vodka bottles. She also bought chocolates for herself and Tom. Her attorney asked her why she had texted about stalling. She testified that she meant she was buying time for when Alan could arrive. She didn't want to be alone with Tom when she brought him home. She stopped at CVS to see if Tom had any prescriptions ready. He didn't. She then went to the nearby Dixie line, where she bought several items, including towels, rope, cable ties, spray paint, and gloves. She told the court that those items were for refinishing an outdoor patio and painting furniture for her business. She was going to use the cable ties and the red paracord to string up the tarp to provide protection. She said she was in the hardware store for just under 30 minutes. While she shopped, she was also freaking out because Alan had gone radio silent when she tried to call him. As more time went by, I've got this fear, and I don't know what's to come, and all these scenarios playing through my head, and I kept building and building. And the more I didn't get a hold of him, it's like, what am I going to do? I mean, Tom's going to want to go home. I don't want him in my home. Just panic set in, she said. Without any options or backup coming, Jade testified that she headed for home and pulled into Tom's driveway. She tried to help him out of her car and put him in the walker, but she said he took a step or two and then fell hard on the pavement. Then he fell a second time. I could hear his head hit the concrete, she testified. He was bleeding. She said, I tried to hoist him up, and he's a lot larger than I am. And so, he's kind of fallen to the ground. And then I went behind him and tried to pick him up under his armpits, and he's just too heavy. I took some of the shop towels and I tied them around and then looped them around his front, and I tried to kind of hoist him up that way, just for leverage. She said she then called for help. Her friend Sarah Jacob and her boyfriend Justin came over to help her lift Tom back into the car. That's when I first, noticed a really steady decline. He was calm where he was mumbling, but by the time we had gotten him up and then he started kind of like warbling, like shaking, like he didn't have that much strength anymore. He had a lot harder time just standing up. They hoisted him into her car. Tom was awake, but was talking gibberish, she said, speaking only in a mumble. She testified that she planned to take him back to the hospital. She got pillows and a blanket to make him more comfortable in the back seat. She also testified she found use for the ripcord she had bought earlier that day for the home improvement project. She used the cord to secure the walker. I didn't want the walker, it wouldn't fit sideways, so I wanted to put it on its side, up and down, but I didn't want it to roll on Tom when I was driving, so I just kind of wanted to secure it against the side of the car, she said. Okay, and so we're envisioning this, her attorney said. Mr. Merriman is in there, and he's propped up with some pillows, or at least he's secured, and his head is secured with some pillows towards the front passenger seat, right? Jade said yes. And the walker's on the left-hand side, and it's secured with the paracord? Yeah, on its side, Jade said. Okay, and that was so that it wouldn't be on top of Mr. Merriman? Her attorney asked. Yeah, I just didn't want, when I'm driving, I didn't want it to roll on him, she said. Jade testified that she called the medical facility to see if they had given him anything that would explain why he was acting oddly and all of his slurring and mumbling. She said she was told a charge nurse would call her back, but when she didn't get an immediate call back, she drove over to the facility. It was 2020, the pandemic raging, and California was known for its strict protocols. She testified she wasn't allowed to go inside. Nobody would speak to her. Again, she said she was told the charge nurse would call her back. Unsure what to do next, she said she sat in her car for a moment and then drove away, feeling panicked. Adam was still ghosting her. I started making my way towards home. I think I just took every long way possible, she said. I need Alan or Mr. Roach to be there, and that's all I was really thinking. I was a mess. Just as she had done before when Tom was too drunk to move, Jade said she left him in her car and went inside to her apartment. And just as before, she figured Tom would sleep it off. She said she regularly checked on him to make sure he was okay. Tom grunted back. At one point, she testified she got angry, waiting for Alan to show up. And so she went back to Tom's and poured Jack Daniels on his computer. She took what she thought was the hard drive and destroyed it. Later, she regretted it. She testified that she was worried that if Tom saw what she did, perhaps he would be even more angry at her and attack her. Eventually, she heard from Alan, who confirmed he was not coming over. He couldn't make it out. I don't remember the exact context and when it was, like a call versus text, but he couldn't make it, and he was going to send somebody over, she said. That person was Brian Solomon. Jade testified that Brian, an otherwise stranger, was there to help her get Tom out of the car. I told him, I said, "Well, come inside and I'll show you where to bring him in." I figured, bring him into my living room onto the sofa. And as he starts coming in, he just said, "Oh, you know what? I have to make a phone call really quickly." Her attorney asked, "So where did he go?" "He went up the driveway and then that was it," she said. That was the last she saw of Brian. Did you tell this person that you never met before to go in and strangle your stepfather?" her attorney asked her. No, I didn't know him. Not that I would anyways, but no, Jade testified. Brian's ex-girlfriend, Maria Bravo, picked Brian up from Jade's house in a rush. Maria testified at the trial and said Brian told her Jade had asked him to strangle and kill Tom. "I didn't believe him. It was crazy. It was something crazy to believe," Maria said. With Alan letting her down and Brian suddenly running off, Jade said she was still in contact with Adam as he finished getting his tattoo. Adam came over later that day, and Jade testified she opened up about the photographs she found on Tom's computer. As you heard in part 1, Adam had testified that Jade admitted to killing her stepfather. Jade denied that conversation ever took place. Her attorney asked, "Did you ever tell Mr. Sipliak that you killed Tom Merriman?" "No," Jade said. "Did you tell Mr. Sipliak that you put a bag over his head?" "No." "Did you tell him that you strangled him?" "No." "Did you tell him that you put a bag over his head and that wasn't doing it fast enough, so you had to strangle him?" "No, of course not. No," Jade testified. While Adam was at her place, sleeping Tom was still very much alive in her car, she said. She testified that she told Adam all that had happened, how she found the naked pictures of herself on Tom's computer, how she picked Tom up from the hospital that day, how he was acting oddly, how he was taking drugs, and how he fell down when she tried to get him into the house. Adam's reaction, Jade claimed, was anger. He got upset and accused her of trying to set him up. Adam said he didn't want to go back to jail or lose his child or ruin his chances of reuniting with his ex. "He's screaming and cussing at me," Jade testified. "He was terrifying. I mean, he's a big guy. He kind of puffed himself up. He was standing over me, just kind of looking down." Jade confirmed she saw Adam wiping down the lotion bottle, the doorknob, the kitchen counter, and anything else he had touched to remove his fingerprints. After Adam left, no one else came over. Jade said she was alone and her phone buzzed with New Year's Eve messages. So it was New Year's Eve, and Tom's always been something I kind of kept like a secret, or, I didn't really discuss him with friends or family because he's an embarrassment, Jade testified. "Everyone's wishing me Happy New Year and stuff, so I just kind of responded. I was just responding to some text messages." She said with Tom still out in her car, she went to bed. The next morning, on January 1st, 2021, Jade said she woke up and checked on him. He was there and he just looked the same as he had. He hadn't moved, she testified. Her attorney asked, "Did he appear to be sleeping?" "Yes," Jade said. "Did you think he was dead?" "I didn't want to think that," Jade responded. "Why not?" "I didn't want him to be dead," Jade said. "I really just wanted him to be asleep. And I just wanted, and I don't know, there's part of me that's like, oh my God, what if he is dead? But it was like, no, this can't be true. It can't. And I went in a full panic." Her attorney said, "Okay, Miss Janks, 911, easy call. 911 is an easy call. Why didn't you make it?" "Well, at the time, I wasn't 100% sure that he was deceased," she responded. She said all she knew was that she wanted Tom out of her 4Runner. She drove to his driveway and was going to try to move him one more time using a wheelchair. She touched his leg. It felt cold. That's when she said she knew he was dead. Her attorney pressed her again. Why wouldn't she call 911? I was scared to, Jade replied. I didn't want to get blamed. She was the one who had picked him up from the hospital. She told others about Tom's obsession with her and about the sexual photographs, and she was the one who destroyed his computer. None of it looked good, she figured. But Jade insisted to the jury that she wasn't a killer. I continued to pull him out. I still wanted to get him into his house. I didn't know what else to do, and so when I tried to get him into the wheelchair, he missed and he fell on the floor on the driveway, Jade testified. I panicked. I didn't want the neighbor to see him, and I didn't know how to move him. So I put the blanket over him, and I got empty boxes and just kind of stacked it, made it look like just a pile of debris. Put it this way, she said, I wasn't trying to, dump his body. Her attorney asked, what were you trying to do? I didn't really know what to do. I wish I could answer, she said. Swirling in her head were many thoughts. She felt sad that Tom was dead. Was something wrong with her because Tom, yes, a troubled and sick person, had also been very kind? Who could she call? What was going to happen? She was scared she was going to get blamed. I can't even tell you if I was able to get straight thoughts out, she said. Jade's attorney then said, this is your testimony here today, that you were afraid that since you were the last person with Tom Merriman, who is now dead, you were the last person to pick him up from the hospital, and the person who had essentially control of him for that entire evening. You thought that you would be blamed for that by the police and by the prosecutors for something you didn't do? The prosecution objected, leading. The judge overruled. Jade answered, I am being blamed for it, yeah. Jade said she got in her car and started driving. She wanted to go find a criminal lawyer to help her. That's when she was pulled over. Her attorney showed Jade a picture of her stepfather. Is this the Tom you remember? He asked. Yes, Jade responded. Same Tom that has his flaws? Yes. Had some weaknesses? Yes. Did you love Tom? Yes. Tom love you? Yes. Ms. Janks, in late December of 2020, did you have a plan to murder your stepfather? No. Did you reach out to people to hire them to come and kill your stepfather? No. I mean, did you want your stepfather dead? No. Did you somehow give him an enormous amount of pharmaceuticals, drugs, to incapacitate him? No. Did you stand over him with a plastic bag and pull tight to keep him from breathing? No. Did you wrap a cord around his neck and pull? No. Ms. Janks, did you grab him with your own 2 hands? No, I would never. And did you strangle him? No. Would you ever have done that to this man over here, Tom Merriman? I wouldn't do that to anybody, Jade testified. After that line of questioning, there was a break in the courtroom for lunch. Up next, Jade would have to answer the prosecutor's questions. Jade Janks was back on the stand to field questioning from Deputy District Attorney Jorge Del Portillo. He questioned Jade's actions from when she discovered the photos on Tom's computer to after she picked him up from the hospital and bought him his favorite chocolates at the store. He asked, this is a person who absolutely violated your privacy just a week prior that you had discovered? Yes, Jade said. This is a person who you thought was stealing drugs from you? Yes. This was a person who you say you believed the rape allegations that he was acquitted of? Yes, and other allegations that I had heard, Jade said. So you bought this rapist, thief, drunk, his favorite chocolate? I bought my stepdad chocolate, yes, she said. He challenged her on her text messages, like one Jade sent on December 28th to Alan Roach. I'm waiting for the hospital to call me back. But so far, it seems like he is getting his strength back. I think the time to come up with a plan is fast approaching, the text said. Jade testified that when she texted about a plan, she meant what to do about confronting Tom about the photographs. She admitted under cross that she never shook Tom to see if he moved or checked his pulse when she suspected he was dead in her car. Prosecutor Del Portillo then brought up the text where Jade told Alan it was going to be Weekend at Bernie's, which was the 1980s movie where a man is murdered and two young men pose the corpse around, tricking the outside world that Bernie is really alive. It's just a phrase, Jade testified. I think it's way read into. Prosecutor Del Portillo said, "You told Alan, I'm not strong enough. Not sure how to proceed, but I'm about to club him on the head as he's waking up." Jade responded with, "Mm-hmm." He asked, "Is that a yes?" "Yeah, I'm sorry, yes," Jade said. "You wanted to club Tom on the head as he's waking up?" he asked. "No, it's more, I sent these messages not knowing that all of this was going to happen. It was going to get read. It's more just like, I'm getting frustrated. I could club him on the head. It wasn't like actually club him on the head," Jade testified. Del Portillo went on. On December 31st at 4:35 p.m., you texted Alan, "He's in pain and I'm not strong enough, but he is very aware now and I'm on my own." Do you remember that? Seeing it, I mean, yes, I sent it, Jade said. And Tom was very aware, wasn't he? Del Portillo asked. I think, again, I was just panicking and trying to urge Alan to come over, Jade said. You would agree with me that this looks very suspicious, this text message. Oh, yeah, Jade admitted. She insisted that when she left Tom in her car for those hours on New Year's Eve into the night and on New Year's Day, she had no idea Tom was in dire shape and that she should call for help. Instead, she left him alone in the car with the window cracked open to give him fresh air. I've seen Tom drink a lot more. I don't know what he had taken, but I had seen him take a lot of pills. I didn't think anything was going to happen to him, Jade said. As she was getting pulled over by police, she had texted Alan again. Lose my number. Del Portillo asked her about this. You text this to Alan because you didn't want the police to find him so that he might be a witness against you, he asked. No, that's not it, Jade testified. I didn't just want him to, as you said before, just get implicated in any of it. The plan was never anything with Tom dying, so I didn't want him to get caught up in anything about that. That was never the plan. Terrence Merriman was desperately trying to reach his younger brother, Tom. Police were looking for him, and nobody could find him. Some of their family members thought he went on an excursion in the mountains, simply leaving without telling anyone at the start of the new year in 2021. Tom Merriman came from a big family of 4 brothers and 2 sisters. They all lived in different parts of the country. Terrence was from Philadelphia. Terrence took the stand at Jade's trial, which gave the jury a few glimpses into Tom's life. He graduated from Miami University in Ohio. He had a son named Cash. Terrence testified that he knew Tom had a stepdaughter named Jade, but he had never met her or spoken to her before. It was 7:20 p.m. on January 1st, and he had received a call from a California detective asking if he knew where Tom was or if he had Tom's contact information. Terrence immediately called Tom and texted him to let him know the police wanted to speak with him. There was no reply. Terrence then called other members of the family, telling them that Tom was missing. While on the phone with his other brother, Pat, Terrence had an incoming call from Tom's number. I was talking to Pat, and I said, "Hey, Pat, call waiting. Here's Tom. I gotta go." I switched over to the incoming call, he testified. He then heard a woman's voice. It was Jade. I wanted to talk to my brother, and she said he wasn't available. And I said, well, I need to talk to him. There's something important. And I don't remember the exact language, but I became more insistent. And she said that he was unavailable. He was sleeping and that he was recovering from Xanax and alcohol withdrawal. And did you ask if you could speak to him again? Prosecutor Del Portillo asked. Oh, yes, Taryn said. She said he wasn't available. He wasn't going to wake up. The conversation was short. Taryn said he asked Jade if his brother could call him back when he was available. But he never spoke to Tom again. San Diego County Sheriff's homicide detective Matthew Moser was assigned to help investigate Tom's death. Part of that investigation included analyzing the hard drive of Tom's computer. Did you find dozens and dozens and hundreds of photos of Ms. Janks? Del Portillo asked. No, Detective Moser responded. There was one photo that I was able to locate, and it was saved as the desktop background of the computer. Del Portillo asked, and it was a nude photo of Ms. Janks? It appeared so, he said. The naked photo had been saved as the background photo of Tom's computer. Detective Moser said he didn't know when the photo had actually been taken, only that the file had been saved as of August 29, 2020. At the start of the trial, prosecutors had said that Jade deleted the rest of the photos as she planned her stepfather's demise. Under cross, Jade's attorney asked, You testified on direct that you reviewed from the cache results of the laptop of Mr. Merriman? I did, Detective Moser said. And that you didn't see hundreds of photos of Ms. Janks on there? Detective Moser repeated what he had said earlier. The only photo that I saw that appeared to be a person similar to Ms. Janks was that desktop background. As part of this investigation, you reviewed other discovery, correct? Her attorney asked. I've reviewed many aspects of the case, Detective Moser replied. Right. You know that Ms. Janks' phone was seized and she had photos of Mr. Merriman's computer? I'm aware of that, Detective Moser said. And you're aware that there were many, 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 many pictures that she took pictures of her? That's true, Detective Moser said. Right, but nude photos of her on Mr. Merriman's computer, correct? Yes, he responded. The credentials of Kelly Ledbetter, a criminologist at the San Diego County Sheriff's Office, were impressive. She had a Master's of Science degree in biotechnology from Johns Hopkins University and spent 14 years working at the Sheriff's Office, as well as another 4.5 years at the Northern Virginia Department of Forensic Science. She analyzed the DNA samples in the case against Jade. Sheriff's investigators had found pillows, pillowcases, and a red rope in the rear passenger seat when they searched Jade's Forerunner. Ledbetter tested the pillows and pillowcases found in Jade's trunk and confirmed they were stained with blood. The blood was very likely Tom's, she said. She confirmed the blood hadn't come from Jade or Adam Sipliak and the others. She testified about the math and science involved in her conclusion. It had a likelihood ratio of 8.2 times 10 to the 26. And again, at our highest level of inclusion, which is very strong support for inclusion, she said. She took a swab from the edge of one of the pillowcases, a spot where someone might hold on to it. She could see a DNA mixture that she said came from Tom Merriman and Jade Janks, again with her highest level of certainty. Detective Moser had called finding rope in Jade's car suspicious. I think it was a combination of the paracord being bought the day of the incident happening, and then also being tied in a somewhat unusual way that seemed suspicious, he had elaborated on the stand. Ledbetter analyzed the rope for DNA, even though there was no blood on it. She swabbed the ends of it, along with the inner part of the rope where the loop was. For the end of the rope, Jade was a 51% contributor, while Tom was a 35% contributor. For the rope loop, Ledbetter testified that the DNA mixture's contributors were at the highest level of conclusion for Tom's DNA and limited support for inclusion for Jade. Under cross-examination, Ledbetter explained her technical answers further when the defense pushed her on what limited support for inclusion meant. Does that mean that person's DNA is there, but you can't say it's there? I don't understand. Jade's attorney, Mark Carlos, asked. Usually that happens whenever you have extremely low-level data. There may not be enough information there to definitively say that that person is excluded, so it just errs on the side of, I'm leaning towards exclusion, but not quite there, Ledbetter explained. It means there's enough data to say that the person could be excluded. She also acknowledged the complexities in how DNA is transferred. With DNA transfer, there's just so many numerous factors involved. Whether or not an item had been washed, wiped off, whether or not someone's a high shedder, someone's a low shedder, someone was wearing gloves. There's multiple factors involved, she testified. There's a lot of DNA in your saliva that could be put onto an item. There's some individuals that don't shed as much DNA, may have just washed their hands and then touch an item, barely deposit any DNA on the item. There's just numerous factors. Jury deliberations lasted for about a day until the jury reached a verdict. Jade Janks was found guilty of murder. The jury hadn't believed her explanation for her text messages. The prosecution asked the judge for the maximum punishment.
Both on cross and direct examination, she had ample opportunity to explain her words in those text messages, what she did. And what was twisted about her testimony was how she twisted the truth. She twisted the text message, I just dosed the hell out of him, to he dosed himself. And the jury rejected her twisted tales for the unreasonable and incredible testimony that it was. Now, what's twisted is the plot that she hatched to kill Tom, where she decided to be Tom's judge, jury, and executioner. What's twisted is dosing someone so that they're defenseless and vulnerable. What's twisted is suffocating someone with a plastic bag over their head, watching them squirm as they gasp for air, referring to them as a kicking body in her car. What's twisted is the defendant strangling Tom with her own hands in the back of her car while he had a bag over his head and was paralyzed from the dose that she gave him. While no sentence can bring back Tom, we ask the court to impose the only just sentence in this case, 25 years to life, and give Tom's family and loved ones a sense of justice.
Before Superior Court Judge Robert Kearney sentenced her, Jade's supporters and Tom's loved ones had the opportunity to speak. Here's what Jade's father, Stephen Janks, said.
I can only imagine what she went through when she found out that Tom, her stepfather, a person she trusted, that she called Dad, was a sick, perverted individual. Not for 1 minute do I believe that Jade premeditated, planned, or would ever deliberately take a life. I do not believe her heart would allow that. Being the person I know her to be, she is my only daughter that I love dearly. All I can say is this fight is not over. I truly believe that an injustice has taken place. This case was not one on its merit. It was one based on an Oscar-winning performance by the DA, a true travesty. I can only hope that Jade has the opportunity to be released through the appeal process, where the facts are reviewed and judgment is based on the reality, not assumption or a DA's performance.
Jade also spoke at her sentencing hearing. She accused Tom of psychological manipulation for years since she was a girl. To Tom's family, I understand you hate me for what you believe I did to Tom. However, there's a lot more that you'll never understand, she said.
Tom came into my life when I was just a little girl and exerted influence during that early stage of development when I was still figuring things out. Unfortunately, that influence manifested itself into appropriate touch, coercion, reckless behavior, and complete violation of what I now realize is years of psychological manipulation. All of this came crashing down on me when I found hundreds of naked photos of myself in his computer, self-shattered. I'm still picking up the pieces, and it's my sincere hope that over the next few years, I can put the pieces back and heal from this trauma. I'm sorry I didn't act the way I was supposed to that day. I think about it every day since. And to Tom's family, I understand you hate me for what you believe I did to Tom. However, there's a lot more than you'll ever understand.
When it was their turn, Tom's loved ones insisted Tom wasn't drunk or on drugs when they saw him. They said he always acted with kindness and professionalism. He was loyal, quietly confident, and full of dry wit, stubborn and kind. Some brought up Tom's butterfly conservation and his passion for helping others in his work. Everybody knew Tom, said Carrie Wright, who Tom helped get started in the butterfly business.
He was definitely a local celebrity and helpful to so many people. I spent many days working around Tom. He was never intoxicated or on drugs. I don't believe the negative statements that the murderer made about Tom. I don't believe she murdered him for the reason she said she did. It's a killer's word against his, and he's not here to defend himself. He was always a perfect gentleman around me. He was smart, kind, generous, and funny.
A retired hospice chaplain shared stories about how Tom provided butterflies to bring peace to people dying.
I believe my life is richer because I knew Tom. And I believe our community and my patients and their families are thankful for what Tom shared with me. But also I believe that San Diego is a little less cheery today than it could be because Tom was needlessly taken from us.
Patrick Flanagan, the CEO and co-founder of Butterfly Farms, was friends and partners with Tom for more than a decade. He said Tom had a good moral compass and became part of Patrick's family. They worked closely together. What Tom had been building fell apart with his death. Patrick lost the lease once the allegations came out about Tom collecting sexual photographs of Jade. Employees were laid off.
So the business at this point is closed. So I've laid everyone off. Everything's in storage. We're in negotiations to build a new space, but I'll have to seriously consider what I have the ability to do without Tom. And so, yeah, this has been devastating, not just to me, but to all the people that look to Tom for answers for the work that we were doing.
But as Tom's brother Terrence told the court, the greatest tragedy from Tom's death was Tom's son losing his father. He asked the judge to put Jade in solitary confinement.
Why did the killer treat my brother's body like trash? Imagine that's how you find your family member. I want the court to know my brother may have possessed inappropriate photos, which is wrong. But there was evidence that the killer had little ethical or moral concerns with disseminating inappropriate photos of herself. In the killer's own words, Tom never acted inappropriately. I want the court to know I'm disgusted with the defense intimating Tom had underage photos in his possession. Following that, I want the court to know an ambitious journalist published an article about how close Tom's business was to an elementary school. It's disgusting. Judge Kearney, please place this convict in solitary confinement each new year to assure us that she's reminded of the pain that she's caused Tom's friends and family. Jade Sasha Janks deserves the punishment the state will impose on her. She won't be missed.
On March 6, 2023, Jade Janks was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. In 25 years, when she's eligible for parole, she will be 64 years old, the same age as Tom was when he died. And that's all for this episode. As always, I want to know what you think about this case. You can let me know by finding me on Twitter at CourtJunkiePod, on Instagram at CourtJunkie, or by emailing me at podcast@CourtJunkie.com. This episode was researched and written by Gabrielle Russon. If you'd like to hear these episodes without the ads, hear additional Court Junkie bonus episodes, or get access to our weekly court case newsletter, check out our Patreon options by going to CourtJunkie.com/support. And don't forget to check out our sister podcast, Civil. The latest episode we released covers the downfall of Bill Cosby, which may have been solidified by a civil lawsuit. And lastly, I touched on this in my prior episodes, but I will be going on a maternity leave shortly. I'm still finalizing all the details, but the plan so far is to release new episodes throughout April, recorded by me. And then in May, my colleague Matt Stroud will be taking over. And you can expect new episodes with him as the narrator every other week in May. Then in June, new episodes will go back to a weekly schedule, and hopefully I will be back in mid-June recording. Thanks for your patience. In the meantime, I will keep all of you updated. Thanks again for listening and for all of your support. Until next time.